The Larrakia people lived, loved, sang, danced and raised families right here. They still do, today and tomorrow. This is Larrakia land, always was, and I pay my respects to Larrakia elders, past, present and future, and to all other First people here and the lands that you call home. Welcome. The Northern Territory's Aboriginal workforce, Aboriginal land, Aboriginal sea are this place's most precious, most powerful, most transformational latent assets. 50% of our land mass is Aboriginal by Australian law. 80% of our coastline is Aboriginal. A third of our population is Aboriginal. Aboriginal and environmental resources and developing the North are indivisible. They are indivisible from the immense Northern Territory future we go up and down the track and across the oceans to talk about. They are indivisible from the North's economic story. They are developing the North. More than anything, leaving here today knowing this about where we stand. We are on this incredible journey as one. No sides, no teams. From Palmerston to Papunya, whether your family tree in this place, like mine, goes back 4 generations or 1,000 like many in this room, we are in this as one. Many people, different names, different colours, different languages, same dreams. We all want our right to opportunity. We all want to live our lives how we see fit. We all want better futures for our children. And ladies and gentlemen, the future of this nation is in the North. It is right here with us. It is here in Darwin. It is in Alice Springs. It is in our community. The turn of the Asian century and our place at its doorstep has a territory on the cusp of something remarkable. Just think, within 5 hours flight time to the south, there are 24 million potential customers. Within 5 hours flight time to the north, there are 400 million customers. And the best place to do business with the north is from here in the NT. The Commonwealth and our regional neighbours recognise this, giving growing commercial and strategic importance. Think of the anticipated $20 billion top-end defence spend over the next 20 years. Think of Project Sea Dragon in the Territory's west. Once it is shipping prawns to markets in Asia, it will be one of the world's biggest aquaculture producers. And it has the potential, when finished, to be bigger than our live cattle export industry. Sea farms and native title holders recently signed an Indigenous land use agreement, a great example of respectful negotiation between the company and Aboriginal stakeholders. This is win-win. This is jobs for remote Territorians. This is futures for our kids, for all our kids. Think of new opportunities. In northeast Arnhem Land, we could be launching rockets into space within 12 months. Mining is in resurgence. We have 17 mining projects in various stages of approvals. Not since the 80s has the Territory had so many lifelong mining projects in the development pipeline. Importantly, there are now examples of Aboriginal Territorians not only participating in this industry, but driving this industry. Near Gove, the Gulkula Mining Company, the first Aboriginal-owned mining operation, is about to start producing bauxite. Think donkeys, the sleeping giant of Territory exports. Believe it or not, China wants our donkeys for medicines, cosmetics and foods. Think buffaloes, fish and soya bean exports. Think of the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which could create as many as 1,000 jobs in the central region of Australia alone. So many Aboriginal Territorians look after their relatives out of love, and always will. But when the NDIS comes along with training and registration, this can become a paying job. This is turning social need into economic opportunity. Think strategic Indigenous water reserves, water set aside for the exclusive use and trade by Aboriginal landowners. We promised to reinstate water reserves before the election, and I know Environment Minister Lauren Moss will have an announcement about this important policy very soon. Think rangers. In 2017, there were about 1,000 rangers working across 46 programs. We are embedding our support for Aboriginal ranger groups in legislation and beefing up enforcement powers. The first step is consultation. That work will get underway very soon. Think carbon farming, an emergent industry which will not only protect country for future generations, but provide ongoing jobs for future generations. Aboriginal knowledge in fire abatement projects have the potential to unlock tens of millions of dollars of investment and jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, close to half of our Aboriginal population hasn't even yet turned 21. It is an extraordinary statistic. It's an extraordinary opportunity. The government is investing in kids now so that they are equipped to not only participate but drive the territory of tomorrow. One of the most powerful means to get our kids happy, healthy and educated is better housing. It's not a silver bullet, but it's about as close to one as you can get. Our $1.1 billion remote housing strategy is the biggest commitment from any NT government ever. We are building hundreds of homes in the bush over the next year. Since coming to government, 679 homes have been approved, 42 replacement houses have already been built, and 435 have been fully upgraded. Under the Room to Breathe program, 146 bedrooms, living rooms or verandas have been built onto existing homes. It is providing meaningful and ongoing work in communities. And as we saw in Ramo with ALPA, if you want to deliver one of those projects under time, early, make sure your nephews are working on your auntie's place. She runs a very tight ship. In his major project speech last week, NLC Chief Executive Joe Morrison challenged Australia to stop thinking of Indigenous development through a social welfare lens only. And I agree. We have to build real, self-generating, self-sustaining economies in the bush. We have to get money into the hands of locals to spend locally, to spend in the shop, to spend on new enterprises, hardware stores, to service home repairs, bakeries, butchers, the economic mainstream. In Kalkaringi, 8 young blokes, including an apprentice, have got work putting up new homes. That's 8 real incomes for 8 local families. 54 jobs have been created in remote communities through the early work of the Room to Breathe program. Arionga, 5 locals are working on site. There are also 4 locals doing their Certificate 2 training at Kyebrook Farm. Largamanu has 4 locals in work, and Ramaginning Alpa have 10 local Yolngu people working on site. In Kapawiak, YBE has provided employment for 7 locals. Many of you will be wondering what's happened to the Indigenous Employment Provisional Sum, which incentivised businesses to take on Aboriginal workers. We had to shut it down, unfortunately, because companies were rorting it. It was simple as that. It was put together in a rush and it wasn't regulated. It will be replaced and replaced soon with a fair, balanced and importantly regulated scheme to make sure we keep incentivising Aboriginal people into those programs. Ladies and gentlemen, the Land Rights Act and Native Title Act provide tools for empowerment. But at the end, it's how we all, government, private sector, landowners, wield those tools that matter. In the middle of the conduit for stakeholders are the land councils. There have been some great wins. In the last term of government under the CLP, negotiating the Kemby land claim, for example, the next great development opportunity across the harbour. Ranger groups, pastoral programs. We're now marching together on our CEDA, the Aboriginal Land and Sea Economic Development Agency, to help connect land opportunity to finance. To develop business cases with landowners and take to potential investors to reduce the risk for landowners and investors to talk the language of business. 6 pilot projects have already been identified, 3 in the Catherine Mataranka region and 2 in the Barkly Tea Tree region. The CLC, NLC and government have skin in our CEDA. We've all committed dollars or resources and now we call on the Commonwealth to do the same so that there is good cooperation with the land councils. But governments, including this one, can do better, much better. I can announce today that my government has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Northern Land Council to foster better day-to-day collaboration and understanding. We'll have more to say on this soon, but one aspect of the MOU is NLC staff embedded with government and government staff embedded with the NLC. This will highlight blockages, inefficiencies, communication breakdowns, how they happen and where they come from, so that they may be fixed and we can work better together. And I do ask all of you to work with me, my government, so that we can do things better this time around. Tell us your ideas and dreams. Give us your advice, straight and frank. Pull us up when we make mistakes, because we will make mistakes. Politicians make mistakes. But know this, a government will do things differently. Our government will do things differently. Not to Aboriginal people, not for Aboriginal people, but with Aboriginal people. I hear the same message up and down the track. We want jobs, we want opportunity, we want futures. Not on politicians or bureaucrats' terms, not on Canberra's or Darwin's terms, but on our terms, our family, our decisions, our community, our decisions, our country, our decisions. Landowners at the head of the table when the companies come knocking. Landowners harnessing their assets to put to the futures of their kids, economic and cultural, not for merely padding investor portfolios. It's not a controversial request. But I know governments and companies sometimes find it hard to hear those messages. Case in point is the historic Blue Mud Bay court decision granting intertidal zones along 5,000 kilometres of coastline as Aboriginal land trust land. Nearly 10 years on, the wrangling and bickering continues on some of those areas. We're 10 years on. I say, if you want permits, that's your decision. All we ask now is time for us and the NLC to get the right systems in place for you to take back control. The preference of this government is for permit-free fishing. That is our preference, but it's not our land. Just as we have no right to tell a Darwin family who they can and can't let into their home, we have no right to tell a traditional owner who they can or can't let onto their waters. Over the last decade, Territory governments have struck many mutually beneficial deals with traditional owners for permit-free fishing, and we hope to strike many more. But ultimately, as decided by the courts, the decision rests with the landowners. It's time to move on. It is your decision, and we need to resolve the Blue Mud Bay process. This government believes meaningful progress, engagement, reconciliation and protection of culture lay not in taking power, but returning power. This is the rationale behind our local decision-making agenda. If not the most significant Aboriginal affairs reform of this generation, is at least, I think, the most decent. We will partner with Aboriginal communities to determine the shape and control of local healthcare, schools, justice systems, local governments, housing, and how to grow happy and healthy kids. Do you want bilingual education in your schools? Do you want community-run health clinics? How do we nurture the kids who have slipped through the gaps? Let us find the best options. Let's do the work. Then you make your decisions. You are in control. Instead of government telling communities how it will be, communities will tell government. This is about empowerment, genuine self-determination. This will be, I hope, the legacy of our government. I want you to hold me to that, and I will hold you to coming up with ideas and economic opportunities to make it work. No one knows your country like you. No one can make your country work but you. No one knows what's best for your kids but you. Lastly, I want to thank all the sponsors and department staff who have pulled the forum together. I also thank forum champions Kian McHugh from Moogie Down Productions, Alice Bilby from Savannah Alliance, the team at Centre Pest Management, and Mickey Wunamara from ALPA. Thank you, your work is valued. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Let's keep working together as one. Enjoy October Business Month, enjoy today and tomorrow, and thank you for being part of developing the North. Thank you very much.